Firing. He's going for Landry down by the end zone. A tumbling catch for a touchdown. He's to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Is this how it feels to win?
Welcome back to Survivors, episode 32, season 4. Surviving the season live from the Baywater Studios in Tampa, Florida. I'm Adam, and Greg is here.
Yo! What is up?
What is up? We have a high quality, what is this?
Not film review, preview.
Yeah. It's a well-rehearsed intro, is what I was going to say.
We have 2 segments, film review and pregame. That's it. That's all we do.
So this is the preview show for the Seattle Seahawks, week number 6.
Must-win territory?
Kinda. Not really. I mean, like we were talking about 4-2 or 2-4 at the break. That wasn't beyond the scope, but it's kind of a bad 2-4.
Yeah, it was possible 2-4, 3-3. You know, we were thinking even 500 would 500 be acceptable. I mean, that's not possible with 6 games, right? So we could be 3-3. So you win this game, that's fine. You go 2-4, and now you're just making that uphill climb that much harder for the second part of the season for you.
Yeah, they're actually underdogs now. I think they opened as slight favorites, the Browns, and now they're underdogs.
Home,
but I'm not
dogs.
sure if that's accurate. I didn't see. Yeah, home dogs 1.5 on ESPN. So I'm sure that number varies around the sports books. I'm not really surprised. Seattle's 4-1, playing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Why would we be favored? What have we done?
I guess the Browns just need to make this one look good. I think they can lose, probably, and no one's going to panic, but you've got to look better than what you've looked.
I mean, you know, the Browns fans, right? Of course they're going to panic. no matter what, People are panicking. You want to have a good time, go read some comments. Every single Freddie. So they send Freddie out there. Like, God... I don't think we need to talk to Freddie as many times as the media does during the week. Let's be honest here. They sent him out here
daily.
Basically daily. And they throw the same questions out. I don't even know why they're asking half of the questions they do. It makes 0 sense. I never see these things written in any stories or anything. It comes down to like, well, what are you guys going to do? And then Freddie says, well, we've found out what the issue was and we're going to correct the issue. And then the comments are on the ticker coming up, and what he always says that. That's all Freddie ever says. They're going to fix it. This is a real coach would already had it fixed. Oh, that's all you got to say? That's all you got to say? Like, what is he supposed to say? What is Freddie supposed to say? How are you supposed to answer these questions? Is he going to come in and be like, you're right, we're garbage, I'm going to resign, everybody should be fired, none of these guys should even be in this league, they should be in the arena league, I don't even know if that exists, or the XFL, whatever's coming out next. Yeah, he's going to come in, he's just going to say, we're going to go to work, we're going to improve daily. This is why these guys come away with these cliche sayings all the time, because they're forced to be up there when there's no real questions being asked.
Yeah. It's all just coach speak, right?
Yeah, you have to. What else are you going to do? What more can Freddie possibly say than we realize we haven't been good so far. We're going to keep going to work and trying to improve.
Yeah.
There's nothing more you could possibly say.
I thought the Monken presser on Thursday was pretty good. He answered some tough questions. And Wilkes also said it was like, it's on me. They go up there and they do take responsibility. So
yeah,
I guess
Monken said an excellent thing in that, where he said, hey, we want to take credit for when we're good, so we got to take the blame when we're bad. Yeah. But again, like they're getting to the same questions. How are you going to fix it? Or what are you going to do in the red zone? And he's like, yeah, I realize we've been bad. We got to figure out ways to be better. What am I going to lay out plays for you? Well, let me show you. Actually, take a look over here. Now, this is what we call the X receiver, and this is the Y. And what we're going to have to, I mean, come on.
Speaking of X, Y, and Z, Callaway was asked, or Callaway told somebody in media that he's moving from Z to X. which
So
means maybe Higgins is back.
Oh, I think Higgins definitely has been practicing this week. It sounded like he almost made the game last week, but I think Freddie said there was a little bit of soreness, and then they decided to hold him out one more week. So what that means for Antonio Callaway, going back to the X, that means you are relegated to the bench. You are going to be behind Odell. And yeah, like you said, you're going to have Higgins over there, probably with obviously with Landry, Jarvis Landry. So I like that mix on one side. You can swap them back and forth between the slot and that or the Z position there. So it doesn't matter in that case. But I think you have Higgins coming back from a layoff here. You're hoping that you're not going to have the same kind of rust that you got from Antonio Callaway in his first game back, because right now we can't have that. I mean, we have to have a game where everybody is ready to play, completely focused, knows what their job is to do, and then actually follows through and does the job by catching the ball.
Well, I'm glad to have Higgins back for sure, because it seemed like him and Baker always had really good chemistry even from last year. So I'm hoping Higgins on the field helps get Beckham and Landry open as well.
Yeah, a little rhythm in the offense would be nice.
Yeah, string something together.
So far, not so good. I mean, you look at some of I'm pulling up like Pro Football Focus grades. I'm looking through the Football Outsiders. I'm looking through Warren Sharp's. He's got all his numbers up there. I'm looking through the stats. Every way that you look at this Browns offense, it's shit. You can't find a stat where you go, well, this looks promising. No, it's everything. Yeah. I see people on Twitter posting things about, well, look at ESPN has us winning the offensive line rate, our offensive line win rate over 2 points. Like, you're picking out stats and different kinds of analytics that really mean nothing. It means zero. How are they playing together as a group? Has it been good? No, it hasn't. It's been terrible. They have a lot of penalties. They're missing a lot of blocks. When we do try to throw downfield, okay, because I've seen this too. People are saying, well, we need to throw downfield more, and other people saying we need to throw the ball quicker. When we throw the ball down the field, you actually have to hold the block for enough time for Baker to get into his drop, the receiver to get out into his route, so Baker can throw it. But what's happening way too often is that's when the protection's breaking down. We have opportunity for big plays, and we can't hold the block. You look at this offensive line, and you can throw out these random stats here or there that say, well, maybe the offensive line isn't as good as what we thought. They're exactly what I thought they were going to be. They're a below average offensive line. You have a couple key good pieces, but you're mostly surrounded by guys who really shouldn't be starters that are forced into a starting role due to the roster.
Right. And
you're trying to figure out a way to protect Baker a little bit more. I mean, I really believe you have to get him under center. You really probably want to start stressing the run a lot more. If you got to go Tony Grossi and get a fullback at this point, I don't care what you do. You need to work from play action from under center a little bit more to be able to buy some extra time for Baker, because we're not able to hold blocks up to this point. I mean, it has to get better. I think it starts with that offensive line. Last week we got dominated on the defensive line. It starts there for them this week. I mean, you got to play good up front or the play's over before it even begins. And this whole thing with like Cush, well, Cush hasn't been killing us. The first 2 weeks he didn't, but ever since he's been killing us. So you look at Cush's grades on Pro Football Focus, and he's like a 50 grade. He's given up the most pressures on the team. He's not particularly good in the run game or the pass. At least like a guy like Greg Robinson, he's run blocking very well. That one thing that you can get out of Greg Robinson, he's such a big guy, he can move people, right? He's really good at moving people. So at least we can run the ball with Greg Robinson, even though he's having a decent year. I mean, you look at his Pro Football Focus grade, it's halfway decent, but that doesn't, you're more consistent this year, but you're still not consistent enough to be a premier left tackle. And then on the opposite side with Hubbard, you really can't do either. And when you combine him with the other dude that was filling in for him, does it even matter if I remember his name? Because he probably will never be in there again. It was worse than Cush. If you combine their pressures It was worse than what Cush has given up so far.
Yeah, McRae.
Yeah, McRae. So you combine him with Hubbard. That's been the weakest position on the offensive line to this point. We clearly need tackle, at least one tackle. If you can work Greg Robinson out somehow, fine. Like, is he the worst tackle in the league? No, he's slightly below average, but the other side's been terrible. The offensive line needs a ton of work, and that alone, the one thing that they did in New Orleans for years with Drew Brees, when you know that you don't have this 6'5" quarterback, you have a guy that really needs to play in the pocket, needs to be able to step up. They've spent money on guards. We spent money on guards also. We had Bitonio, we had Treader, who helps protect the middle, and then we also had Zeitler.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And now you can't sit there and tell me going from Zeitler to Cush has not made a difference so far. All you have to do is watch these games. And it's not even that Cush, I don't even think Cush has given up a sack. It's not about the sacks alone. It's about being pushed back into the quarterback.
Right.
Because giving up ground.
And then Baker can't step up into a clean pocket. That's when he's leaving. Forced. And then the rest of the protection breaks down once you lose, your depth. So, yeah, it's really hard when one side of the pocket is falling apart, and then you're getting those chase down sacks from behind. And then, of course, Baker's putting the ball on the ground, too, last week. So,
yeah, Baker. So what's interesting about Baker is, one thing you say, well, you're short quarterback, he's going to get a lot of balls batted down. He had 9 balls batted down last year on 486 attempts. That's pretty good. That's better than average. He's already had 7 passes batted down this year in 161 attempts. So we've almost hit the amount of balls that have been batted. Now, if you're going to sit here and try to tell me this doesn't have anything to do with the defensive tackles pushing their guy into the backfield, then I don't think we're watching the same thing.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what's happening on these. Not all of them. That's not the way every single ball gets batted, but this is what's going on. You have guys being pushed into his lap, and that's not going to make you got a young quarterback. Make him feel comfortable, man. Make him feel comfortable. And then and I'm not going to, like I said, I would have did the Vernon trade for Zeitler. When you look at it, if I was John Dorsey and I knew Austin Corbett was the guy, because we don't get to sit here and watch Austin Corbett in practice every single day.
Right.
He does. So if he's sitting there watching him in practice every day and he goes, oh, yeah, he's going to be totally ready to go. No worries. Make that deal 100 out of 100 times. But he didn't. And you go out and now you're playing a guy like Cush. Corbett can't even get on the field. He has played 1 snap, which I'm surprised this year. I don't even remember that 1 snap. You bring in Cush, who is a journeyman offensive lineman, and then you look over at Vernon, who is having probably the worst season of his career up to this point so far, from a stats aspect of it. He's not doing anything. Last week you saw a couple times where he couldn't catch up to plays that were going to his side, losing containment, not being able fast enough to really make the play. But he's just not applying the pressure at the normal rate that he has. And then you're talking about the price tag. How much more are you paying for Olivier Vernon than what you were paying for Zeitler? I think Zeitler is at $10 million a year, and what's Vernon at this year? It's something like, I don't have it in front of me, but $18 million, right?
I will give you a number exactly.
Okay.
15.25.
Okay. So 67% more. Wait, 50% more money, right? Yeah. So I don't want to. I'm not. I don't want to double guess this move or whatever. Like I said, I would have made the move had I known that there was somebody that was going to fill in, because this is so important to Baker. This is important to a guy that isn't 6'5", able to see clearly, as clearly as everybody else over the line. That's the one knock. If you're going to knock Baker, you're going to knock Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, they're too short. They can't see over these big guys. So you got to make sure that you have guys that can hold the point of attack. They make sure they're not giving up ground and create enough space for Baker to be able to see the field clearly and be able to get his balls over these guys' stretched out hands. That's you have to. It's attention to detail. This team, we've seen it this year, lacks attention to detail, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It almost feels like that with the roster. Are we lacking the same attention to detail with the roster build as we were? I mean, you listen to some of these guys, and Mike Lombardi on his show has talked about it since last year. John Dorsey's good at acquiring talent, but not building a overall team. I don't know if that's true. I think like a guy like Jarvis Landry is a good team building player, right? You're not picking up Jarvis Landry because he's like this great wide receiver talent. You're picking him up because he's a great football player, great attitude, very good work ethic, good team guy, right?
Yep.
But why do you get Antonio Callaway?
Yeah, that's a.
You don't build a team around that.
Right.
Why do you know? Kareem Hunt, he hasn't got to play yet, but he has his whole issues or guys of that nature where, people would say that about Odell. I don't think that's the case. I think clearly Odell is a team guy and wants to win. That's what's more important to him than anything else.
Yeah, he's had to face those questions. Also struggling, not getting a lot of balls. You can tell he's frustrated. I think he just wants to win. There's going to be no frustration if this team's winning. It's when you're losing that all these things, that's when they come up in the presser. And he constantly has to answer questions about.
They did ask Monken about that. Is Odell getting frustrated? And he's like, yeah, he's not getting as many targets as that we'd like to get him, but we also only ran like 50 plays.
Yeah.
So how can you? They're not executing. They're not winning their plays. How else you can look? I mean, the offense has been just disastrous this season. At some point, you just can't go, we're going to keep doing the same thing and expecting it to work. At some point, you have to switch it up.
Yeah. Well, that would be the definition of insanity.
Exactly. Here's another crazy stat that I looked up. We have 48 penalties on the year that were accepted, right? We've had 34 penalties on the offense. Wow. 29 of them that were accepted. So 29, and this is with special teams and defense, 29 out of our 48 accepted penalties were just only from the offense. So of those 29, if you compare that to other teams, there is 4 teams that have, for a total team, 29 or less penalties. The 49ers, Panthers, Colts, and Dolphins all have less penalties as a whole team than what just our only offense has committed this year.
What? Holy shit.
Yeah. That's like slapped me right across the face when I was looking at it.
That's crazy. Yeah. No, I didn't. I mean, I know they had a lot of penalties, but that's
second in the league in penalties right now, by the way.
Who's
but
first?
Even with Atlanta, Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
So Atlanta's offensive penalties are nowhere near our, we're offensively, we've got way more. I mean, think about it. The rules are made so the defense gets shitty penalties called on them all the time.
Always. Yeah. Always.
How is our defense has only committed 18, okay, compared to the 34 on offense.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing that when we go, well, there's no rhythm, there's no execution, and then one penalty can blow a whole drive, Yeah. It's not a surprise that the Browns have looked as clunky as they have when you bring up that stat. That's it.
That just adds to it.
Yeah.
So you add on top of that, where you're already putting yourself behind the ball, you add on top of that Baker's playing the worst that he's ever played. I mean, you look at his accuracy numbers, they are way down compared to where he typically is. I mean, we know Baker Mayfield is an accurate thrower of the ball. Yet when you look at every single stat, when it comes to his accuracies, there's issues with all of them this year. When he's facing pressure, it's one of the single worst that I've ever seen in the history of football. He's at like 34% completion percentage,
which is
when
crazy
he's facing.
Because that was like one of the things he was really good at.
Yeah. So the one thing Pro Football Focus talks about it often. They say that when it comes to being under pressure, it's not what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't
correlation.
Yeah. There's no correlation to it. Like it will vary greatly. There's times where you're good. There's times where you're bad, and it's not a consistent stat. It won't tell you what you are. The one place where it tells you like how accurate of a thrower you are is when there's no pressure. And Baker is one of the lowest in the league, 65.8% completion percentage with no pressure, which is, it's pretty solid. He's got a really nice grade when there's no pressure. He's at 85.1 overall when there's no pressure. The problem is, which that's doable That's okay, that completion percentage, but it's still near the lowest. You want to be high 70s. Yeah. I mean, I think one year Drew Brees was over 80% when he was not pressured. But when you're pressured, you're completing. He's 17 of 50 this year, 34%.
Wow.
He's 67 dropbacks while he's been under pressure. He's taken 16 sacks. So he's not getting away from it. He's fumbling the ball. He can't get out of it. I mean, there's all kinds of issues there when we're under pressure. He's thrown 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions under pressure. And it's not even that he's being blitzed.
Yeah,
he's not being
right.
blitzed. He's facing pressure often from just a 4-man rush. And you can't. So everybody goes, well, you got to be able to get the ball out quicker. If they're only rushing 4, and you can't get the ball out because it's going to be a lot harder for you to get the ball out quick. Why? Because they have 7 guys in coverage. They're going to be playing all those hook routes. All of that's going to be covered up. You have to, at that point, your line has to be able to block long enough that you can throw over the top. But when you watch it, you consistently see the line cannot maintain that when we're looking at it on a downfield throw. I mean, the play before half, the 49ers rushed 2 guys. 2. Dee Ford and Nick Bosa. We had 5 guys in the block. They get pressure, and it ends up being a sack. Dee Ford beats Hubbard instantly with a spin move, misses Baker. Baker scrambles. Nick Bosa cleans it up. We have 5 guys blocking 2, and we gave up a sack. Now, how are you going to find somebody open when there's 9 dudes in coverage? That's the one time you have to be able to stay in the pocket. So they go, well, the Browns are staying in the pocket over 2.5 seconds. They should be able to. The other team is only rushing 4 people on most plays.
Yeah, they're consistently not blitzing. They're consistently getting pressure with 4 dudes, and you're facing these. You got 3 defenders for each route.
Yeah, but Adam, the stats say that the Browns' offensive line has a win rate of 71% when they're holding when guys are blitzing over 2.5 seconds. It's like Greg Williams. Some people understand, like, you want to force the offense to not be able to throw before 2.5 seconds. Remember Greg Williams? We're so good. We're making the offense throw in 2 seconds.
Right.
That's how good we are. And they're completing like 75% against his defense. He's thinking that's good. That's because you're giving up easy fucking passes. Everybody's going, let's take away. We know Baker's an accurate quarterback. Let's take away the quick passes. Let's make and force him to have to work in through the pocket, force his offensive line to block for him because we know they're garbage, and maintain their blocks. And we'll take away the easy stuff, and then it's going to make for longer, harder throws. And we see that he's still averaging, like, yards per attempt is still 7.7. We're throwing the ball downfield. I mean, how many? Jarvis Landry's averaging 20 yards a catch, for Christ's sakes. He's never averaged over 12. That's because we're having to throw these longer routes because they're taking away all our easy stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes we forget these coordinators, they're also watching the Browns games. Like, Seattle knows there's a game plan. There's a roadmap of 5 games 5 games that, well, if we can get pressure with 4 and we can just sit everybody in zone coverage, we're going to have an easy day. These coordinators aren't stupid.
No, and not just 5 games. They wouldn't go back to last season and go, okay, how did Baker do against pressure? How did he do against all that? You're looking at those stats. You're checking all that out. You want to see. You're trying to see. All right, what's the weakness and how can we attack that? Well, right now the weakness of the Browns, and Pete Smith just wrote an article about it, about how Baker's struggling with a 4-man rush. Did he not?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
it's evident
on Browns Maven. Yeah. I think we retweeted it, so you guys can read that article off of our. Well, it's not going to get any easier this week, right? Clowney, Ziggy Ansah.
Yeah.
They've got some horses up there, don't they?
Well, Ziggy Ansah, is he even healthy? Because he only has like 100 snaps this year. I don't think he's played all the games, has he? He's played in 3 of the 5 games. He's got 101 snaps. He doesn't seem to be back to himself. Clowney's playing well, but we know Clowney's not really like a great pass rusher. This year he does have 19 pressures, which is good for him, but still only 1 sack. Quentin Jefferson actually is leading the team with 24 pressures. He's a defensive tackle for them, really doing a good job against the run. But when you look at like total team stats from them, they're just an average defense. There's nothing special. This defense used to be really good. You know, what was their name? Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Well, you don't have those guys anymore, and they really struggle in the second. Like their secondary is not good. In fact, they only play. Jamar Taylor is their nickel corner. He's played 84 snaps. So they're using 3 linebacker sets more often than not. Their safeties are not really good. You have one good corner with Shaquille Griffin. The other corner is average.
Flowers?
Yeah, Trey Flowers. Actually, he's playing well below average this year if you're just talking about going off of Pro Football Focus grades. They're pretty stout up front. They're decent against the run. I mean, right this year they are. Okay, so DVOA, the defense is this is the Football Outsiders way. Seattle is 19th in the NFL against the pass and 16th against the run. Total, they're the 22nd overall defense, and the Browns are 15th. We are 11 against the pass and 23rd against the rush. And then when you look at Seattle from points per game, they're giving up 23.6. That's 18th in the league. The Browns are giving up 24.4. That's 21st in the league. Yards per play, which is that's a good measurement to tell how efficient they are. Seattle's 21st in the league. They're giving up 5.9 yards per play. We're giving up 5.6, so we're 15th in the league. Third down, though, they're pretty good. They're 6th in the league in third down. They're only giving up 32%. You know, we've been terrible. We are 28th in the league. We are only converting 29% of our third downs. So that could be that's what it could come down to.
Yeah, that's a huge metric with correlating wins. If you're getting third downs, you generally are winning.
Yep. So the interesting thing, I know we're talking defense here, but let's talk about our offense for a second, because when you're talking about
I didn't mean to put you into the preview. I kind of got you off of what we were talking about before.
Yeah, it's fine. But I mean, if you're gonna, so they're 19th against the pass, which is slightly below average. But we are 30th DVOA ranked passing team. For our offense, offensively, we are terrible. 30th, and Seattle is the number 1 ranked passing team by Football Outsiders.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, well, let's see where we are. If you now go over to Pro Football Focus, what are we? They actually have the Browns at 19th passing offense. So there it gets a little bit better. I don't know how you could look at this team and how they grade higher than 13 other pass offenses, but that's how they have it graded as of right now.
Yeah, I'd like to see what those 13 teams are, because
no, I don't have it in front of me.
The Browns should be way higher up on this list with this kind of roster. Well, what you would expect.
Oh, anyway. Yeah. I mean, if you said that at the beginning of the season, like we weren't going to be ranked in the top 10 of passing offenses, I would have been like, yeah, right, dude, you're crazy. But now you're telling me the only 2 teams that we're ahead of is the New York Jets and Miami Dolphins. From the Football Outsiders aspect, and that sounds about right, honestly.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah,
I feel like that's about right. Yeah, Baker is ranked the 32nd ranked quarterback on that list, and Russell Wilson's number 3. So if you're talking about a lot of people just say, all right, pick the best quarterback. Chances are that's who's going to win the game. Well, right now Russell Wilson's playing as good as anybody.
Yeah, I think he's got the top passing grade on PFF.
Yeah, well, he's been phenomenal, and he's doing it with shit talent. I mean, Tyler Lockett's a nice player. He's got his running game is halfway decent, but there's not studs, and his offensive line is every bit as bad as ours is. He's willing the team, and Russell Wilson's a veteran quarterback. Baker's still learning. I think Baker can get to that, to eventually get to the place where Russell Wilson is. But Russell Wilson is every bit as good as any quarterback in the league. He's right there for the argument. I still feel like he's one of the most underrated guys. Yeah,
he is.
People don't respect how good he is.
Yeah, Seattle always seems to win games that you look at it and you go, I think last year with that offensive line, you're like, God, they're not going to win a game.
Oh,
and then they still came out and won games. So basically, Wilson is, like you said, willing the team to win on his own.
Yeah, just while we're on Wilson, I might as well bring up his stats. He's like you said, the highest graded quarterback with a 90.7 overall and 89 passing grade from Pro Football Focus. He is a 114 of 156 for a 73.1% completion percentage. 1,409 yards, 9.0 is average, what he's averaging per throw, which is phenomenal. 12 touchdowns, zero interceptions.
Wow.
That's getting it done right there. And then he's all, how he can scramble. He's got 14 runs on the year, but 13 of them are from scrambling for 120 yards. So 2 touchdowns. So he's getting it done there as well.
Yeah, they're 4-1. They played the Saints, the Rams. They lost to the Saints, but they've given up quite a few points. The Bengals put up 20. The Steelers put up 26. The Saints scored 33. And the Rams scored 29. The only one, They held the Cardinals to 10 points. But they've given up some points here. You might want to look at the over for this one.
Yeah, you can definitely. What was the over? It's like 48 or something. 46.
46.5. Yeah.
Yeah, 46.5. So yeah, that's what the teams would be averaging there, just about. So if you look at their defenses. But yeah, they give up points. Defensively, they're not that great. There's just like I said, Clowney, he can get after the quarterback. He's just not a real sack master. LJ Collier was their first round pick. He's barely even played up to this point. We'll see what they end up doing with him. But you can pick apart this defense. What it comes down to is, are you going to be able to keep Russell Wilson in the pocket? Are you going to be able to slow down this run game? Because if they do anything well, it's run the ball. Well, I mean, they can run the ball. I mean, they don't necessarily do it well, but they can run the ball on you with a power run game, and we've been susceptible to that run style. Defensively, that's what it's gonna come down to, because once Russell Wilson breaks out of the pocket, that's when he hits his big plays. That's when Tyler Lockett becomes so much more effective. That's when DK Metcalf is averaging 20 yards a catch, so he can get past the defense. Down the field, and Russell's super accurate on all levels. He can hit you anywhere. I mean, I think in his senior year in college, he completed something like 75% of his passes. So he's always been accurate. He continues to be accurate. He hits guys when they're open. He's even taking advantage of what we would probably consider at the time when he was drafted. Didn't we think Will Dissly was like an 8-8 or a 6-10 tight end, and he's been serviceable this year, doing a good job.
Yeah, 4th round pick out of Washington. Will Dissly has 23 receptions, 262 yards, but his numbers are amazing. Out of those 23 receptions, he's only been targeted 25 times. So
93% catch rate.
Yeah,
boy, it's funny when you look at the Browns. I don't have it. Let me pull it up, because Beckham's is shit. I mean, Will Dissly's catching the ball at 93%. Chris Carson, running back, you can get that kind of high stuff like that because they're such easy throws. But even Tyler Lockett, 30 receptions on 35 targets. The only place where it really goes badly is DK Metcalf, who's under 50%, 12 receptions on 25 targets. But everybody else, it's a high completion percentage when targeting any of these guys. It's not the same for the Browns this year.
Right. And just another one in the bucket for why you're struggling as a team. Like we said, it's probably not one thing. It's all these things adding up. And then that's what makes it look so shitty. Exactly.
Yeah, so let me see here. So Jarvis Landry, he's got 22 receptions on 37 targets, so that's 59.5%. That's fine. Odell's 23 out of 39 for 59%. Okay, it's not great, but so both of them are at 59%. That's lower than what you'd want. Damian Ratley's at 57. These are our wide receivers.
And it's got to be real bad, our tight ends.
Antonio Callaway is 0%, 0 for 3. We know that. And then, you get, Ricky Seals-Jones is actually playing good. They need to do Ricky, he's got four catches and 6 targets. But other than that, you go to, Demetrius Harris has got 3 catches and 6 targets. David Njoku, 4 catches, 7 targets. Farrell Brown, 1 catch, 2 targets. So 50% basically for most of those guys. But you got to get better production out of your wide receivers than what we're getting right now. That's been our biggest struggle. But yeah, I mean this is what Russell Wilson's doing it with. You can't sit there and go Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Will Dissly, Chris Carson. What's the other tight end's name? Luke Wilson, Jerron Brown. I mean, come on.
Right.
That's what he's doing it with. We can't do it with OBJ and Jarvis and David Njoku and he's been hurt or Ratley.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We got better wide receivers than they do.
Yeah. Hopefully. We were kind of hoping that Callaway would be a spark coming back. Now it's kind of hanging on Higgins to be a spark this week.
Yeah, I'm not giving up on Callaway to be a spark. It's he definitely had some rust game one. I don't think he's anywhere near as bad as what he was. He was probably put in a tough spot where he had to learn a new position. 1 week, he had like 3 practices.
Right.
All right, figure this all out, get in there. Well, they really put him in a tough spot, and it showed. So I fully expect at some point Callaway is going to have a real bounce back. Maybe not this week, maybe a couple weeks down the line once he gets himself more comfortable, that you're gonna have a little bit of a bounce back. But yeah, we talked about like this offensive line for Seattle. This offensive line is not any better than what our offensive line is, but he continues, Russell Wilson's getting it done behind him. When I look at it, there is a clear weakness that Myles Garrett can take advantage of. And that is the former first-round pick, Germain Ifedi. He's had 5 penalties against him, and he's given up 25 pressures on the year in 203 pass blocks. He's given up 25 pressures. So Myles Garrett already has a high pressure rate, and Ifedi is giving up a high pressure rate. So I would constantly, if Dwayne Brown is out, this is even better. But I would definitely get Myles off of the Dwayne Brown side, get him over to the opposite side, and let him do work.
Yeah. Is this a game where Myles has to, because Wilson's so dangerous out of the pocket,
slippery?
You got to have the edge players setting the edge, or can we just hopefully go? Can they just rush?
Well, you do have to worry about that with Russell Wilson. They have given up 13 sacks, so you can get to the quarterback against them. I think that you have to, you have to contain them, but you can't tell Myles not to get after the quarterback, right?
Yeah, exactly. I would just let them loose, go.
Yeah.
Everyone just needs to do their job on defense.
Yeah, I mean they're good. They're very good. I mean they're top 10 in almost every single category. Points per game, they're number 8, 26.6. Yards per game, they're number 8, 388 yards a game. Yards per play, they're number 8, 6.0. The one place they kind of struggle in is third downs. They're 21st in the league. They're only picking up 36% of third downs. Our defense has been really excellent actually against third downs. We are 5th in the league. We're only giving up 31% of third down conversions there. So the defense has been getting it done for the most part. And then what a lot of these games come down to when two teams are evenly matched, and I think these teams are evenly matched if we play up to the game that the Browns, if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot and we play the way that we're supposed to play, the game could come down to this. The turnover differential for Seattle, they are +3 on the year, and the Browns are -3.
Wow, yeah.
Do you remember last year? What were we, like +10, like 5 games in the season?
Yeah,
last year
boy,
we were
had a bunch
1-4.
Yeah. We had a bunch of turnovers early in the season.
And we couldn't win a goddamn game with it.
Yeah, I think Ward and Greedy Williams both have a shot to play this weekend.
Yeah, I like that. I like some Ward on. You put some Ward on Tyler Lockett. That's a good matchup for Ward.
Yeah, we'll see. Those hamstrings for both of them have been cost them a few games. So I don't know. I guess we'll.
Greedy did pretty good last year on DK Metcalf in college, did he not? Do you remember that game? I'd have to go back. I know they played.
Yeah,
because that might be the other matchup going on there.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll play him. I guess if they're not ready 100%, they'll probably sit him because you got the bye week.
Yeah,
so you get them an extra week of rest.
Well, they were full participants.
I think they're both limited again.
Oh, okay.
But
I mean, this is a pretty huge game. You really want to go into this bye week at 3-3. I mean, that's pretty easy thing to say. Obviously, you want to win every goddamn game, right. But I mean, the difference between 2-4 and 3-3 is pretty friggin' huge here.
Yeah, also to go into the break on some kind of positive note, beating a good team, maybe it gives everyone a chance to go catch their breath. We're 3-3. There's nothing to worry about. We got an easy side of the schedule coming up. Just that if they lose and then then they just have 2 weeks, to think about it before they get back out in the field, it's going to suck.
Yeah, and you got New England. You're sitting 2-4, and then you got New England.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Also, some other news: Derek Willis suffered a torn ACL during special
that's
teams
terrible.
practice. Yeah.
Oh man, that sucks for him.
Yep, another injury. Also, Freddie Kitchens was asked about Jannard Avery. Freddie said he's satisfied with depth at that position, and they have other needs on game day, and that's why he's been inactive.
Yeah, he said, "Did you not notice that Chad Thomas had a sack, bro?" He has a stat. He has a stat now.
Yeah.
Okay, give him a break. He's logged a stat. Chad Thomas did have a sack, but boy, did he fucking have a shitty grade this last one.
Oh yeah.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't see the grade.
He had a 29.6 overall grade on 21 snaps.
Wow.
He was terrible in the run game. 28.3 run defense.
What was Mac Wilson's?
Oh, God. Mac Wilson blew that first play. And did you hear what's his name talk about it? Steve Wilkes
No.
brought it up. He goes, well, it was a learning process, especially that first play.
That's funny.
He graded a 36.3 and a 33.3 in the run game.
Pretty much where I had him. Okay.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Not good.
Ugh. So big. It's another tough matchup here for our boys to go out.
Yeah, winnable game, though. I mean, this is a team, they've had a lot of tough games, and they've just been able to come out on top. Like, they have a pretty good – they're not giving up a ton of rushing yards, but I don't know if you watched the game against the Rams, like, Todd Gurley was ripping off some good runs. I think you can run the ball against this team. I think Nick Chubb, this is an opportunity if you really want to try to pound Nick Chubb a little bit more in this game. Definitely go after that a little bit. Maybe try to go a little run heavy, try to play off that run and into some play action.
Well, that would help.
Yeah. Got to do something different here. Can't just keep doing the same crap.
I think if you can get Chubb started and then you work off of that, maybe we get some throwing lanes open. Maybe we get some receivers out, get the Seattle linebackers just to have to stay up.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even mention that. They got one of the best.
Yep.
This is one of my favorite linebackers. Were you going to talk about him? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. One of the best linebackers in the entire league, if not the best. He's right up there with Kuechly, is Bobby Wagner. I mean, if you haven't watched this guy, you're going to see a guy that flies around. This year, his coverage grade is down at 45.6. That's not normal. He's usually high. He's been up into the 90s before. Gets it done that way, gets after the quarterback, tackles everything, doesn't miss a lot of tackles. He's good against the run. I mean, this guy is the kind of middle linebacker. I mean, Joe Schobert's good, but Bobby Wagner's on another level when it comes to that. So he's an impressive guy. Michael Kendricks being another one of the linebackers. We know him. He's cleaned up his white-collar crimes. He's ready to contribute. And he's getting after it. This year's got 2 sacks. So the one thing Michael Kendricks plays that strong side, and he could you can use him on blitzes. He's pretty tough. And then they have the guy, KJ Wright, who's been there a long time. He was a free agent that we talked about. Maybe the Browns would take a look at. He never wanted to leave Seattle, so he's still there making plays. One of his lower graded seasons so far up to this point. But again, that's 3 solid linebackers, and they don't really take them off the field that much this year. They're all playing a lot of snaps. And like I said, Jamar Taylor being the nickel corner, only 84 snaps. So if we're going to be in our 3 wide receivers set, and they're going to be playing these 3 linebackers, that should help out whoever the slot guy. If it's going to be Jarvis, if it's going to be Richard, I don't know whose it's going to be, but one of those guys should be able to take advantage of having a linebacker in cover. Well, it's going to be a lot of zone here, with Seattle. A lot of cover 3. I mean, they've been playing the same defense forever. You don't have the same players playing this defense, so it hasn't been as good this year for them.
Got a score prediction?
Yeah, Browns 49. Seahawks.
Breakout week, huh?
Yeah, 49. Seahawks 10.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. What? You got a problem with that? You got a problem with my ridiculous scores I give every week?
Again, I mean, you. That's what I was going to say. So I don't know.
You had 49 and 10?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I just didn't think we had the same last week as well.
Yeah.
Look how that worked out.
Great minds think alike.
Anything else on this game or anything else to cover?
If the Browns score 3 points, can Freddie be fired on the bye week?
Oh, my God. Would that be crazy?
No, I was just joking. It ain't going to happen. And nor should it happen.
I want to shout out 3 new reviews.
What?
T-Stan82, great fun, great content, no propaganda zone. Fun and intelligent with true fan feel. These guys are a well-kept secret.
Oh, I see that he's buying the propaganda by thinking it's not propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Awesome. Share the pod with your friends, and we will not be a well-kept secret for long.
Yeah. What the hell?
Writer and Fly Fisher. This podcast is my favorite for many reasons. First, feels like you're hanging out with friends as the two brothers talk. Thank you, Writer and Fly Fisher.
Yeah.
Second, the content is interesting. Finally, great format. Some guests, some game previews, some draft talk. Really a good mix.
Yeah, we probably need more guests, but we'll get around to that.
Yeah, we haven't had a guest for a while.
It's been rough lately between kids and work and all that. I'm telling you, man, if people just want to donate, if somebody wants to donate $1 million, we'll go full time at this. And don't worry, we won't go. We don't have to go to our jobs anymore. We'll just live off of that, no problem. But it's up to you guys.
Kickstarter, crowdfund this. Yeah, right. Okay, and one more from.
Hey, if somebody donates $1 million, we'll do a daily podcast.
I'm in. Yeah, we'll find time. Dr. J04, irreverent but knowledgeable.
Dr. J?
Yep, the Dr. J.
The Dr. J.
Irreverent podcast that's incisive and analytical. These guys critically evaluate the Browns roster, coaching, and management. They also review the game and tape and highlight points that aren't mentioned anywhere else. I've been listening to them since the imperfect 0-16 season, back when we were really good, and they still deliver some of the best content in this plethora of bandwagon Browns podcasts.
Oh, that's the guy that was listening back then.
Uh-huh. He was the only one.
Irreverent. Let me look this up. Let me Google that. Showing a lack of respect for people or things that are generally taken seriously. Yep. That's us.
It's really, I don't think you could find a better word to describe the podcast.
I'm thinking about changing my name. I think I might be Dr. Irreverent. 04.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for the 5-star reviews. It always makes us feel good. And we get a little more content. Yeah, and that guy with
1-star review from like a couple weeks ago, F you.
Yep. Yeah.
I still don't like you.
Yeah, I'm still mad by that one. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. What's our Twitter?
Our Twitter is at STS Podcasts, and our email is
season@gmail.com, patreon.com/STS Podcasts. If you want to support the show financially, shout out to all the executive producers on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. 1:00 game Sunday. So we will be back Sunday after the game, hopefully in a very good mood as we go into the break.
I love the 1:00 games.
Yeah, me too. So much nicer because we can record right after. It's great.
Exactly.
Again, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Greg, tell them what we say.
Keep on surviving.